Okay, guys, let's get Luis our attention, please.
This is my portfolio presentation, the end of the year portfolio. Is it the arrow or the space?
You click on the presentation first, and then you can use that arrow. And then it works.
This question, I'm actually gonna skip because I'm really confused on it. I don't really like connect myself to books or readings. Like the most I connect myself is to being in the character's shoes and how that would make me feel. But I honestly did not get question number 2 and question number 3.
You have a really good example there, right?
I did not look over it. I just typed
Okay.
it. Can I do that? One skill that was hard to master, I mean, I still haven't mastered, was symbolism. And I said it was kind of hard because, like, I know there can be so many different meanings, and it's not going to be wrong how you, like, think about a certain thing, but it's just, I don't want to, like, say the teacher thinks something different, I think something different. She might agree, she might not agree. I don't know if that would affect my grade. But, like, one example I had was for, like, my annotation in Macbeth. I said symbolism, like Macbeth's hands are red, meaning he's bloody, and he tries to cleanse himself, the water to turn red. And, like, that would mean, like, he can't even cleanse himself of the guilt in the story. And that's how I took, like, the meaning of, like, if he put his hands, and, like, of course they're probably actually clean, but if he put his hands in nice, like, a clean water, it would get the water bloody, so it would not be able to wash off. And that would, like, that really, I guess, showed, or, like, to me, meant his guilt. And, like, the most important, like, information that I found was, like, Shakespeare using conflict imagery and symbolism. I know it's not really, like, the most important, like, transformative knowledge, and I know, like, it probably won't really affect anything, but, like, it made me realize, like, many different authors, they write stuff and it's meant to be there, even if you might think it's wrong. Different authors, like, in books, like, it makes you think about, like, everybody has their own style, like, they have their own imagination, and they always bring up new things. Like, I can do one thing one way, you do the other way, but they can still add up and be, like, you learn more information later on, and you can gather more after that. And, like, what I said in my last PBA, I stated, like, Shakespeare uses conflict imagery and symbolism to show the reader that Lady Macbeth was motivated by her desire for power. So he used what he wrote to show how Lady Macbeth affected Macbeth in the story, and, like, that played a big role in Macbeth. And, like, for question 7, I might have actually done the same thing for my last portfolio, but I really thought it was, like, the best example, because in Parable of the Sword, power, Lauren being the big person and choosing to protect the people, like, she brought in people even though everybody in that group disagreed. And, like, to me, that showed that it doesn't matter how old you are or what role you play in your society, that you could do anything you want. Like, if you really want to help someone, you'll help someone. You'll go out your way to help them. And, like, for equity, Lauren choosing to teach Zara how to read and write, that's another, like, that could be another, like, form of power. Like, Lauren choosing to help for her own good, like, it also helps her. And, like, I really don't know how to explain that. Like, I like to, like, sometimes I know I may not be, like, the biggest help, of course, in this English class. It's not my strong suit, but, like, I like being world history. I like that. It's more interesting. I'll help someone if they need help. You know, math, I don't know about that one. And, like, oppression, Harry believing the guy who had his head smashed and would survive. I mean, that one really didn't make sense. I wrote that just because, honestly. And, like, the assignment I was most proud of, like, I know it's not, like, something that I did on my own, but it was a trailer because we worked together as a group, and I thought it was actually fun. Like, I may not have shown that it was fun, but I actually had, like, that was probably the most fun I had in this English class. I mean, that's kind of hard to have, but, you know, like, that's, like, the most fun I've had in this class. And we got it done on time and before, and I like the video, how, I don't remember who edited it, but it was a good job. I liked it. And I think like the assignment that needs the most improvement was all my packets for Macbeth. I would just read, not even I would read the modern text, and I wouldn't like want to read over the story and annotate and think about it. I would just write it down, like write something based off that. I would rush through the whole thing, and I would not also. I would like the day before. You know how you told us to read no, it was the original text, no? Yeah,
The
you wanted.
original text is
I know you wanted
really
us to read the modern text. Yeah, I would go off the modern text to do the annotations, and I would not read the original text. And like something that really helps me learn in this class, it's not really a big thing, but it does play a big role in all of my assignments. Like the feedback that Mr. Ramirez gives us, because I work off like say like the first annotation packet, I really don't know if I did good or not. I didn't really look at it, but you can see like Mr. Ramirez goes through the assignments and she gives us the feedback, and that really helps me later on because I understand like what she wants me to do. And that's what I wanted to complete, what she wanted us to do. And like the way I used my own, like my old feedback was like being more in depth. My first portfolio, I was not really in depth. I did the worst on that. Like you could look at it and all like it would be negative, not negative or positive, but like, you know, the difference between feedback is like telling you that you did this wrong. And that was all of that portfolio. I really didn't do that well. My second one was a little improvement. I was a little bit more in depth, and I had like positive feedback on all of my questions, and I really liked that. And I used that positive feedback to help me use like the same, not energy, you say, but like the same, like you want to do it that same, not the same exact way, of course, different. You just want it to be like, you just want it to be good. And I just, of course, wanted to complete it good and get a good grade. And like the 3 goals that I want to accomplish, or like I would use, like 3 goals I want to do in my sophomore year is keeping my GPA higher, of course, above a 3.5 GPA. And like I would use my feedback or like my portfolios, my what is it the reflections? The reflections. I would use that to like help remind me, like get more in depth and use my feedback or use even my older work from this class next year to understand like what the teacher might want me to do. I'll just be like, Mr. Ramirez didn't taught me this way. I'll try to use that way and see how it goes. And like with my writings, it's not that I don't put effort towards, but it's more like if I'm not interested in it, I won't like there's some topics that would be more like in depth for me, like connecting my personality or my positionality or identity. I'm not really a big person with that because I really don't, it's not that I don't identify myself, it's more like it's not that I don't care, it's just I just don't relate to any of that. I guess you can say like what is it, heterosexual, like I don't really like, I mean, respect to anybody who like is comfortable with saying all that, but I don't really see a point in connecting myself to books with that.
Oh my gosh.
You know? I'm straight. I like girls. Girl.
Be respectful.
Yeah, he just said he was uncomfortable about it. That's not
Bro,
wrong attention.
Okay.
And like one thing I learned about myself is like it's like that sometimes I rely on feedback, like even outside of my class, like say I'm doing something, I like to be told that I'm doing it correctly. Like say I'm working with my dad, he tells me like good job, that like helps me know that I'm doing it correctly. Like you or Mr. Ramirez gave us the feedback. Some of the like assignments would have positive feedback on it. And I would use that to like help me on these later assignments, like more, and I mean like the assignments after those. And I would be like, it would help me be more in depth. And like at first, of course, I wasn't really like, I'm still not an open person, but it was like now I just type out what I want to feel. Before then, I would not really want to put effort. But now since you gave us like all that feedback, it really helped. That's all.
Excellent. Want to do that, Sydney?
Yeah.
Wow.
What is going on?